The Buffalo Bills lost to the Houston Texans on Sunday. And just like I said all week, that game should have been in prime time. It was a very good game between two very good teams. It came right down to the end, and the Texans found a way to win. Or did they? Or did the Bills find a way to lose? That's what I think happened. At the end of the game, let's just focus on the end of the game. The ball's at midfield, the Texans are driving. And now the Bills start calling timeouts. Now they're at midfield. I don't understand this usage of their last two timeouts. They needed to keep the pressure on the Texans to have them be the ones that, with the clock running and things, that have to get up there and go quickly. Not call timeouts and save time. So then they do that, and they're lucky enough that the Texans get an intentional grounding penalty because the tight end ran the wrong route. And they get a lucky break. At the time, I was saying to everyone that was watching with me, why are they spending timeouts now? So they punt. And it was a good punt. They down it within the 5-yard line. So then I tell everybody, well, now we're just going to run the ball and do whatever we can to try to get to overtime. Been running the ball a lot more successful during the game than passing. But out of our own end zone, the coaches call a long pass play. Now, obviously, when you throw a short pass, it's going to be more of a chance to get completed than when you throw a medium pass. And those percentages are going to go down more as you throw a long pass because the ball flies more through the air. Correctly? Am I correct? Yes. So we just needed a first down. Get a first down. Make the Texans use their timeouts, which they had all 3 of them. That's a whole nother topic why we didn't have 3 timeouts. And so they throw an incomplete pass long on the first play. Okay, well, second down, we've got to run the ball now. Maybe get 5 or 6 yards and make it a short pass play for the first down. No, the Bills call another long pass. Another long pass where the percentages again are going down. And it's incomplete. Stops the clock again. The Texans didn't have to use any of their timeouts because the Bills came out and ran a pass play on the third down. The Texans used none of their timeouts. So then we punt, and it's a pretty good punt. Sam Martin's been doing pretty good for us this year. They get out to midfield. It looks like they need maybe just a couple of yards to make it a kick that their kicker, who is very, very good, to be able to make to win the game for them like he did the week before for the Texans. Okay. So now our defensive coaches have a brain fart. First of all, Dorian Williams isn't on the field when they break the huddle, and he's running on the field late for this crucial play. I don't think he could have known what defense they were in. They just knew they only had 10 on the field, so they ran Dorian out there. Why wasn't Dorian out there in the first place? This has got to be a coaching thing, in my opinion, because Dorian plays most all first downs. Okay, so he's out there, and if you're watching the film, it doesn't look like he knew what was going on. He's covering air. And the safeties dropped way back, like they thought the Texans were going to throw a Hail Mary pass. They have their timeouts. I was looking for a pass across the middle, quick, to go down fast, call one of their timeouts, kick the field goal, and win. All, again, they needed was a few yards. And that's all they got because the safeties were way back, threw a short pass across the middle, got the first down. Now, some of you might be saying I'm Monday morning quarterbacking this, but as I've been saying through the video, I said all this stuff before the plays happened. So the coaching needs some work. Then, of course, the kicker came through and he kicked the game-winning field goal. The coaches need to look at themselves right now in the mirror and figure out what happened wrong there. There's been too many times where the Buffalo Bills blow it in the last few minutes of the game and find a way to lose instead of finding a way to win. 13 seconds comes to mind. When they let the Chiefs come back because they dropped their defenders back and let the Chiefs move down the field and kick a game-winning field goal in the playoffs. It angers you so much to have a good team and have the coaches blow the game. And in my opinion, that's what happened. Just got to think and stew about that for a second. Okay, so let's go to other things that happened during the game. Other things that we may need to work on. The Bills may need to work on. Wide receivers. Josh Allen, what was he, 9 for 31? That's just awful. But part of it is, and a lot of it, is because he didn't have someone to throw the ball to. God bless Mac Hollins. He's doing the best he can. But on a wide receiver depth chart, he would be number 5. Because he gives you special teams play as well. But in this game, he appears to be who we thought was wide receiver number 1. We got to get Dalton Kincaid involved more. And he had a couple of drop passes. Where are those pure hands? Speaking about where is something, where is Dawson Knox? If we're going to do the 2 tight end sets we talk about all the time, it'd be nice to have Dawson Knox have a completion attempt to him. Curtis Samuel. Okay, we're using him like he's a gadget player, like he was McKenzie. I thought he was going to come in and be better than that. He's better than just a gadget player, and we're not using him that way. We obviously miss Shakir. Shakir has become a fantastic wide receiver and great at yards after the catch and great at getting separation. I really wish Shakir could be our number 2 wide receiver in our offense, but it showed by missing him that he's our number 1. Coleman had a great play for the long touchdown. Also had one go off his head. He's a rookie. Young players are going to have a bit of a learning curve here, especially early in the season. I wish he could be our number 2 wide receiver, but he's got to grow into that. Now, it leaves us without a pure number 1. And I know I've been preaching all season that I love everybody eats mentality and no number 1. But the one thing I neglected to think of is when you have a number 1, a really top edge receiver, it takes a couple of DBs to cover him. They put him in double coverage. That leaves someone else open and makes it easier for other people to eat. So what I want is a top edge receiver that's willing to not care if everybody eats. We just want W's. We just want the W, right? So the only receivers I can see to bring in, and it's going to take somebody bringing in, I mean, Shavers isn't going to come up to the regular squad and become a number 1 wide receiver. So Devontae Adams, I mean, this guy's awesome. He has the Taco Bell in his house. I mean, he is a top-end wide receiver. And I don't want to blow a season here, so I'm willing to give up draft picks to get him. Obviously not a first-round draft pick. But we got a second for Diggs. And if we can keep Adams for more than 1 year, if we can get him to sign a long-term contract and the Raiders are willing to eat some of his contract this year, it just makes sense. Amari Cooper is the other one coming out of Cleveland. Cleveland's having an awful year. He's a little bit older wide receiver, but he wants to be on a winning team, I would assume. So he could be that guy too. So Brandon Beane's got to make some magic work because this wide receiver core looked like the wide receiver core that the Texans put on the field after Collins got hurt. And when Nico Collins got hurt in the game, you could see a major drop-off in what the offense for the Houston Texans could do. Because Nico Collins is a top 1 receiver. And when they lost him, the Bills were able to change their defense around in their coverages, and it made a huge difference. The defense looked so much more amazing after Collins was out of the game. So that's another thing I think they need to do is go out and find somebody that can be the number 1 receiver on the depth chart, and everybody can play their role on the wide receiver depth chart that they really should be in instead of trying to step up to the next role. But I still want everybody to eat. I don't want Josh to be just looking for Stephon Diggs type receiver like he did last year. We've got to go with who's open. Okay. The other thing that we need to worry about is rookies and young players on our team making mistakes. However, I don't want to not let them play. I want them to be able to be out there and make mistakes. I think Dwayne Carter showed that in his very first game he made a mistake. And now he is blossoming and had a great game. Now, Cole Bishop came in because Taylor Rapp is hurt, and Nico Collins made him look like a fool. He got stuck looking in the backfield, and Collins just ran past him, didn't even put a juke move on. Okay, so Cole Bishop's going to be a good safety for us, but we need to get him reps. Williams probably does have some problems. I mean, he's a second-year player, but he probably does have some of the blame to why he wasn't on the field. It can't just be coaching on that. So there's another mistake. But the more he plays and the more reps these guys get, the less mistakes they're going to make. And they're going to become quality NFL players, in my opinion. Same thing with Keon Coleman. The more reps he takes, the more well he's going to do. So I would compare this to something in my own life. I used to be on the microphone as a PA announcer during intermissions of professional hockey with the Jackalopes and hockey team in Odessa, Texas. And the first time I grabbed that microphone, I was nervous. I didn't know what to say, and I probably stuttered and stumbled. The more and more I did it, the more calm I felt, and the more easier it got to do the job. Not saying I was the greatest announcer. I'm saying it becomes easier. It becomes second nature to do things at the NFL level, which is a faster pace than what they were doing in college. And there's more professional athletes that are as good as they are in the NFL level, obviously, than there were in college. So these guys are getting used to it. And so I want them to do that now before the playoffs start. And I think the Bills are going to make the playoffs because we're playing in the AFC East. And that's the best thing about this thing I can tell you is we're winning the AFC East right now because the Patriots are awful. The Dolphins don't have Tua. And even when they had Tua, the Bills were beating up on him in that game. And the Jets just fired their head coach, so they don't think they're having a very good season either. So all we got to do is finish better than those three teams. Let's let our rookies play a little bit. Let's let our young players play a little bit. Now, however, this Monday, we are playing those New York Jets. And if we lose that game, we're tied in that division. But if we win, we're going to be up by 2 games. So this game is the important game. We're on a 3-game road trip, and it really didn't matter as far as winning the AFC East if we lost to the Texans, and it didn't matter The one game we needed to win, the one game we have to win is the AFC East game. And that's not going to be that easy because we tend to always lose one game against the Jets and go 1-1 for the season. That can't happen right now. We've got to get momentum back on the Bills team and find a way to win this game. And it's hard to beat a team that just replaced their coach because history shows us that teams play very well on their first game with a new coach. As defenses and offenses don't know what to expect as much with a new coaching style that's coming. So, and the Jets want to play like they can show that they are good enough to have a coach. So anyway, this game is hugely important. We need to get that 2-game lead, and we need to smush the Jets' expectations that they can make a comeback. If they fire their head coach and get a loss on Monday Night Football to the Bills, then their momentum is going to really be heading downhill. They're not going to have any. So, anyway, I know this has been a little bit longer of a video, but get us another wide receiver. I hope there's some way. I know with salary caps and everything, we've got to try to figure out a way to make that happen. And the coaches need to go review film on what happened in all of the 2-minute drills that they've messed up over the last few years. And not do it this week because they need to focus on the Jets and how to beat them. But maybe on the bye week, go spend a week just pretending you're ending games. Bring in a college team, a high school team, whatever, and just play the last 2 minutes of games over that time. Do it virtual reality. I don't care. Just figure out why we play to lose the game at the end of games. That's my rant. And with that, let's say something good here. Josh Allen's a great quarterback. The offensive line on pass coverage looks pretty good. Running the ball looked really good. The Bills are running the ball. Dwayne Carter, going to be a great addition to our team. Christian Benford, Rasul Douglas, love those guys at corner. Okay. With that, I say, go Bills. And always remember, God loves you, and so do I.